Hello my friends, welcome back to Maltanan.com. Today I've got a pretty amazing story to tell you. Do you remember the very old post on my blog called Separating RGB Channels? I wrote that some time ago when the chromatic aberration became popular again. For some reason, people got excited, everyone was doing it, so I thought maybe I'll create like a pixel bender plugin to do that, because we can do that right now in CS4. So as a side note, this tutorial is mainly for CS4, but I will show you a cool technique to do this in CS3. I mean, the thing I want to show you, of course. So the funniest thing happened today. I just started to have some more time to record the tutorials, as you probably noticed, during the course of like last 3 weeks or so. And I was just getting ready to record this, and guess what? Guess what popped up in my tweet deck? Ta-da! So that's actually pretty funny. So I decided to record this tutorial right now, since I believe I do have something to add to this subject. So basically, here we go. Here's the link to the site from Twitter. It's a separate RGB channels pixel bender plugin, as you can see, to create the popular chromatic aberration effect. Well, the thing is that chromatic aberration is more than just separating RGB channels. And when I realized that, I decided not to publish my own pixel bender until I develop something that actually works like an aberration. And that, one thing led to another, and so on and so forth. So basically, here we are today, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that I developed as I was experimenting with this subject. So first off, I'm going to show you my chromatic aberration pixel bender plugin. So this one works only in CS4. So bear with me. You got to go to maltanan.com section in here, and we've got a ChromAberration plugin, as I call it. You know what? I'm just going to put the footage in the final comp, final like that, and I'm just going to apply chromatic aberration. The thing with aberration is that it gets, like, the RGB channels are getting offsetted more and more as they move away from the center or from the origin point, whatever you choose. So basically, we've got 3 sliders in here. If you push the slider to a positive value in here, so you push it to the right, you'll be moving the cyan colors. So basically, the green and the blue channels all together. So like that. And as you can see, it gets more and more intense the further away you get from the origin point, which usually you want to leave at the center of your layer. Or if you want, you can just move it like that. So whatever suits you. But if you're going to go to the negative values, so towards the red, you're just going to offset the red color. So that's pretty much it. See the difference? It's a slight difference, but you can see it. Like, the red is popping up right now and the green stays in place, and here it's the exact opposite. So that's the main difference. And the same goes for green, magenta, and blue and yellow. So this is my ChromAberration pixel bender plugin for After Effects CS4 and above. But I don't want to leave my CS3 viewers with nothing. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you, among other things, how to create this chromatic aberration using CS3. So unfortunately, we have to create 3 duplicates of this layer. Let's call this comp aberration. And we're going to create 3 duplicates. But first, let's apply the required effects. And that would be set channels or channel mixer or whatever that allows you to choose, channels you want to use. So set red to red and everything else set to off. And now duplicate it. Red to off, green to green, duplicate it, green to off, and blue to blue. Okay, red, green, blue. Yes, red, green, blue. Okay, let's just name those correctly. Red, green, blue. And we're also going to need a new controller layer. So I'm going to create a new null object and say controller. Okay. And we got to blend the layers with the additive mode. And now we're back to normal. And this is what usually gets away as a chromatic aberration, just shifting the RGB channel. But as you can see, it's not exactly the same effect if you compare it to the previous results that I just showed you. So let's just go back and do the real chromatic aberration. And this tutorial is actually first tutorial out of 4 which I'm gonna record, and you can find them on my Facebook fan page. This one is from March. I've published it quite a long ago. You know, guys, I've been really busy, but now I'm back on track with the site, so I promise I'll do my best to provide as many fresh tutorials, you know, on regular basis, hopefully like once a week or so. So we're gonna do chromatic aberration, which is what we're gonna do today. And then we're just gonna do shadow streak, spot focus, and linear focus, which are all inspired by Magic Bullet Looks by Red Giant Software. It's a great set of plugins to do color correction and basically stuff like you see in here. So changing depth of field, chromatic aberration, adding noise, you know, playing with colors, curves, and all that good stuff. So basically a great color grading tool, which also plugs in not only to After Effects, but to Premiere, Avid, I think, Final Cut, and all the, you know, main non-linear editing applications. But you gotta double check that, because, you know, I'm only interested in Adobe products, so I wouldn't really know. Okay, so let's just jump to it. We gotta go to our controller layer and create 3 sliders. So let's just do that right now. Slider. And we're gonna basically recreate the ChromAberration plugin that I just showed you for CS3. So this is gonna be our red cyan, and the next one is going to be green and magenta, and the last one is going to be blue and yellow. Okay, so the trick here is not to change the position of the layers, but rather changing the scale of our layers. So I'm just gonna twirl up all the scale parameters, and I'm just gonna lock this palette, because we're gonna need it, obviously, and we're gonna write an expression. First, we're gonna grab all the values that we need. So red, cyan, and this is going to be this, and just as I like it, I'm gonna divide the value by 100. That makes it easier for, you know, for us to just grab the slider and just push it quite away and just push the values really high and have a really solid results. I just kind of like working that way. Okay, red cyan, then green magenta equals this. And I think we're going to use the same declarations on all the layers, so it shouldn't be too hard. Blue, yellow equals this. 100. And this is where the whole trick comes. We got to check whether or not each one of these values is positive, so we're moving 2 channels, or negative, so we're just moving 1 channel. And we can simply do that by checking whether or not a given value is larger than 0. So let's just go ahead and do if red cyan is greater than 0, then cyan is what? Green and blue. Okay, so green. Oh, sorry, first gotta declare what green is. So green, red equals green equals blue, and they all equal 0 at the beginning. So green plus equals, so basically we're going to add something to the green. we could as well just write green equals green plus something, but this is just you know, shorter syntax. So plus equals red cyan, same goes for blue, cyan, red cyan, and in any other case red should be equal, and here's the trick, it's still gotta be a positive value, even though red cyan, since this is the else case, is not greater than 0, so it's a negative value. We still got to add a positive value to the red, so to this variable. So we're gonna use math absolute, which ignores the negative sign and just makes it a positive number again. So plus red cyan, and this should take care of it, I think, and we can basically copy this line 3 times and just change red cyan to green magenta in here, like that, and blue yellow to, yeah, and this to blue yellow, and here we gotta go with red, here we gotta go with red again, I think, and what magenta is? Red and blue, and here yellow is red plus green, if I remember correctly. Okay, red stays the same, here we gotta go with green, and here we gotta go with blue, and red cyan, oh yeah, we gotta change red cyan to this, so like that, and like that, and here we gotta change it to blue yellow. Yep, and yep. Okay, this should take care of the math, and now the only thing left to do is to apply the values. So in this case it's gonna be the red value plus red. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because the value is 100%, or you know, whatever the original value is, and we're adding to this scale the amount, you know, calculated from these parameters. So that should take care of it all. I'm just gonna copy it, and okay, seems to be working. Let's just try. Oh no, we can't try it because the other layers are not configured yet. So I'm just gonna paste this whole thing in here and change the red to, in this case, green. Green and green. And again, here it's gonna be blue and blue. Okay, so this is it. Let's see. Haha. Okay, seems to be working. Just push it to the negative values. Okay, we get the same exact results. So you might be thinking, okay, Maltanen, but you know, this is still a pre-comp, right? And I want to be able to use those parameters in my final comp, or you know, whatever. So you know, I don't have to go in and change the parameters and animate them and so on and so forth. Well, this is what the plugin allows us to do, you know, in CS4, but in CS3, not really. And this is where George comes in. Remember George? He's the, you know, clever guy. I'm just doing what he tells me to do. So what George would say in this case is, why don't you just go ahead, keep this panel locked, and grab it outside of After Effects window. So basically undock it, and now you've got it in here, just like that. And I say, okay, that sounds interesting. So let's just check if it works. Let's just put the aberration pre-comp to our final comp. And let's see. What do we need? We need another effects controller, but we don't have it in here. Oh yeah, I think we can do it in here. Yeah, new effects viewer. Beautiful. Okay, just drag it in here. Sweet. So this is the final. Very good. We can blur it out or add other effects. Fast blur, for example, just to see if it works. Okay, it does work. And this still refers to our aberration composition and controller layer, as you can see in here. Pretty damn cool, don't you say? Let's see if it works. Works like a charm. So this is kind of a workaround, but it does get the job done, in my opinion. So it's kind of cool. We can also lock this palette so it doesn't, go back and forth. And we can just simply put this one, on the side or in whatever space you like. So basically, this is quite a nice fix to a very popular problem if you're doing, a lot of expressions like I do. We can't really go into the comp and, change the parameters inside of a pre-comp, but that way we can actually extract those parameters outside of the comp window and have them, side by side with the other parameters. So that's kind of cool. I like it. Okay, so that is the chromatic aberration, the real chromatic aberration. And it's exactly the same as in Magic Bullet looks. And since that was, created by Stu Mashtowitz, I really think there's no better comparison. Like, I can safely assume that that's exactly how chromatic aberration works. So here we go, CS4 and CS3 solution. But that's not all. The way I got here to create the ChromAberration CS4 plugin, the Pixel Blender plugin, was a long way, because at the beginning I also tried to do it simply by shifting channels as it's in here and as it's in my blog post. So since I did that some time ago, I thought, well, it's too much of a waste to just throw it away. And I actually thought that, how about making a nice custom effect that would be RGB separator, and oh, sorry, that's actually called RGB playground right now because the parameters are a little bit changed. So let me just show you how that works. We're gonna jump into After Effects again. We're gonna get rid of the aberration and this because we don't need it anymore. We're just gonna put our footage inside, and I'm gonna show you how this RGB splitter works, because this is just a simple RGB splitter, but it has also a nice interface as a custom effect. So this is how it looks by default. You can just simply offset the channels. It's really nice for creating some kind of a chaotic look in your footage to add a little bit of interest to it. I'm just gonna zero it out, and I also added a channel fader, so you can fade each of the channels. You can red, green, blue. You can just fade them out, creating sort of a very primitive color correction. But I guess that's already an exaggeration. Color correction with simply fading channels, I don't think so. But it does change the color, as you can see. Okay, so that's basically the RGB splitter. And the main thing is the RGB playground, which is gonna rock your socks off. It's unfortunately only available for CS4 since it's using the RGB splitter. But here's what you can do. Basically, you open up the RGB playground custom effect like that, and you've got a lot of interesting options in here. Of course, you've got the channel offset. You can simply offset channels whatever you like. Just grab these handles in here and just move them around, including the alpha channel as well. But the most interesting thing is that you can blur the channels as well. Like you can see, each channel can be blurred, also can be fade. And the best feature of all is that you can use a master offset value. And let me just show you how that works. If I'm gonna push the reds to the right, let's say 20 pixels, and blur the blues, let's say 20 pixels as well, so we can really see what's going on. You know, maybe not blues, maybe greens. Okay. It's an exaggeration, but you can clearly see what's going on. If we're going to do that, then we can use this master offset to simply turn this effect on and off. I can use the master offset, and as you can see, the further I go with the percentage, the further it goes in this with this offset, really. Like 100% is 20 pixels offset, 50% would be 10, and so on and so forth. So you can, for example, wiggle this value to create a really nice chaotic look in your footage, and you can also link the blur values to it. So I can just check this, and this is the full effect, as you can see. The blurs also work like that, along with the slider, with the master slider offset. So you can do it like that, for example, and we've blurred the green, so we can move the green here and just wiggle this value, or just randomize it. Let's just alt click and say random from 0 to 100, and let's just render a few frames. That's quite nice. And as you can see, it doesn't look anything like chromatic aberration. So chromatic aberration is really a different thing than just simply shifting the channels. Anyway, I hope you've liked this tutorial. The RGB splitter alone as a pixel bender plugin is of course available for download for free. But I have a great deal for you. The custom effect RGB Playground, along with RGB Splitter and along with ChromAberration plugin, is available for purchase for a small price as usual, just to, you know, show your appreciation and then just help me out, you know, hosting the site and doing tutorials, because without your help, there's really nothing I can do for you. So help me help you guys. Also, if you like Magic Bullet looks, I think you should at least check it out. And if you're gonna like it, remember that you can buy it at Tool Farm, and it would really make a difference for me if, you know, you decided to buy it, and if you would use a link that is provided along with this tutorial. Because by doing that, you're actually helping me keep my website running, and that will be super cool of you if you would just click on that link. So, once again, this is Maltanen for maltanen.com. Thanks for watching, I hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Happy After Effecting.